Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Campus Scare Debate Competition. The topic of the debate competition is: does social media contribute to teenage suicide? And we have brilliant minds with us who would like to express their viewpoints for and against the motion and would like to, showcase their point of view. Since we are talking about teenage suicides, we have teenagers with us. So, all the teenagers out there, a very warm welcome to everybody, and you may start this conversation and take this debate to the level wherein you like to express your viewpoints on the same. So who would like to go first?
I would like to go first.
Yes, Anandi.
Okay. I'm Anandi Ginotra from Silverline Prestige School. And on the topic, does social media contribute to teenage suicide? I'm on the for side, means I agree to this. Because, teenagers go through puberty. We all know that we're a phase where our mental thinking changes. And this puberty, the teenagers in the previous decades also went through puberty. But the suicide cases have increased nowadays only. And the reason is because nowadays social media has become a major part of our life. So that has caused a lot of impact on teenagers' mental health. So anyone who want to state any point against it?
Thank you, Anandi. So who do we have next? We will have a room for interjection. So currently, let's just have both the sides first. So Anandi was speaking, for the motion. Do we have anybody against the motion? Who would like to go first?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Rishti.
Good afternoon to all the respected chairpersons and jury, and my lovely audience. Today, I.S. Sharma of Silverline Prestige School is here, speaking against the motion, the topic social media contributes to teenage suicide. So, moving to the topic, I think that a person is always responsible for his or her actions, and nobody in this world is in charge of his life. Nowadays, even if social media has become a part of our everyday life, but couldn't decide whether if it will take our lives in its hand. In fact, social media has helped us reduce the number as it organizes such positive campaigns and as well motivated matter that after hearing or watching such things, people, especially teenagers, are influenced to forget their bad past and start from fresh and optimistic view. If talking statistically, middle and old aged people are more prone to suicide instead of young adults. So, would that mean that the older people are also influenced by some random stranger sitting online and giving them advice if they should continue their lives or not? Because I don't think so. So, that is the case here. Even in an older time when social media was not very effective, people used it. Then who would have been responsible for that? Who would you have blamed back then? At last, I would like to conclude by saying that teenagers are also developing with the developing technology and they are enough mature for their goods and bads in their life. Just be optimistic and the best is on its way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Srishti. Who do we have next?
Ma'am,
Ananya.
shall I?
Yeah.
Breaking news, breaking news. Social media has led to teenage suicide. Well, I'm Anya from Silverline Prestige School, present here to express my views on social media leading to teenage suicide. The rate of teenage suicide is rising alarmingly. When seeking reason for this teenage suicide, we can easily place the blame on social media. After all, it is a site, a medium for communication, creativity, and entertainment that many parents didn't experience for themselves as teenagers. It is suggested that social media use exposes teenagers to cyberbullying, which leads to degradation of their mental health. It is suggested that social media use among teenagers is linked to low self-esteem, risk-taking behaviors, and physical effects of sacrificing sleep and exercise. Teenagers cannot effectively quantify the time that must be spent on social media, which is the main reason which has an adverse effect on their studies. Teenagers say that social media prevents them getting isolated. But in reality, they are getting isolated from their family members, friends, parents, everyone. My lovely audience, don't you too believe that today's teenager lacks communication skills? Well, the reason is the same. The sad thing is that the list does not end. Damaging your online reputation, having your personal information shared online, being annoyed or bullied by someone you don't want attention from, or being a victim of an online scam. All these together things contribute to physical degradation of a teenager's health, and these are some various ways through which social media finally contributes to teenage society. Well, I believe that's all from my side. Thank you all for your patience here.
Thank you, Ananya. So who do we have next?
Ma'am, I'm here. Arya.
All right, Arya, you may go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Suicide, a small word which has the capability to raise thousands of eyebrows. I, Arya Bansal of Silverline Prestige School, is here to speak against the motion. Does social media contribute to teenage suicide? Suicide, a word that contains millions of questions with billions of answers and interpretations. It's a small word with a large impact which is as wide as social media. And I guess many of us agree with this. And social media is an atmosphere where one dwells, learn, fall, but also rise up again. Nowadays, social media is not only sharing of travel, family pics, etc. It has become a lifestyle, a way not only of living life, but a way of leading your life. Social media is one of the best relaxer one can imagine and keeps students away from negativity, depression, and ultimately thoughts of suicide. We at the ages of teens only plunge ourselves in the deep pool of negativity and somehow surround ourselves by suicidal thoughts. Personally, I may say we usually get depressed by expectations, higher expectations of our elders, and peer pressure, which is always there to give a boost to this pessimism. During these gloomy moments, we need someone who can understand us, someone who can act as a best friend and shows us things we want to see. Here, social media comes, who acts as a best friend and shows us things we want to see as per our mood. It shows that we are not the only one who are going through these misery situations. It gives us a moral boost so that we can see a future steps with a broad vision. I want to say that social media does not perish. It does not perish. Instead, it flourishes our teen life. I just want to end it with a beautiful quote. Your skin is not a paper. Don't cut. Your face isn't a mask. Don't hide it. Your size isn't a book. Don't judge it. And your life isn't a film. So don't end it. Dear society, dear societal teens, society is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And people all listening there, please don't try to link it with social media. Thank you. That was all from my side.
Thank, thank you, Arya. Who's going next? Gurisha, you wanted to go next?
Yes, but I'm from against the motion.
No worries.
Okay. So, social media, a collective term for websites and applications that focus on communication, community-based input, interaction, and collaboration. A very good morning to everyone present here. I'm Varisha from Silver and Prestige School, and I'm going to speak against the motion on the topic: does social media contribute to teenage society? So, social media distracts youngsters, disrupts their sleep, and spread rumors. Well, all get accepted. But social media contribute to teenage society? Don't you think that's too much? Well, every invention of man has pros and cons. So negative effects of social media could be there, but blaming social media entirely for teenager suicide is not at all right. When we say that a child has committed suicide because he was bullied while surfing the internet, the actual reason is not social media. The actual reason behind is that they are mentally weak. Yes, they are mentally weak. They cannot even tolerate any personal comments. Nowadays, children are more mentally weak because they have no one to share their day's experience, their worries, their troubles. which ultimately make them so sensitive that they even take small bullies and feel depressed. This mental weakness comes from loneliness. Yes, loneliness. Their parents have provided with them gadgets. They have made them connected to internet, but they distance themselves from the children. The problem arises here. Since no one is there to counsel the child, she goes on the wrong track and ultimately the overs. So at last, I want to conclude that it's the parents and teachers' duty to provide with the right guidance to their children and to spend their quality time with their children so that the teenagers become mentally strong and in order to tackle problems and not blame poor social media for all these things, as it was the only one who connected us during the lockdown time that was a depression time. Thank you.
Thank you, Gorisha. Who do we have next?
I'll do it.
Sri Lakshmi. You can go ahead.
Yes. Hello all. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sri Lakshmi, and I'm from Aniketana Vidya Mandira, Shiragate, Tumkur. As we all know, nowadays more the students are having a social media account, and this is leading to the teenage suicide. On average, 19 teens commit suicide every day. That equals to roughly 7,000 deaths each year. The leading cause of suicide in teens is mental health issues like depression. Most of the teenage social media users are committing suicide. There are some community there are some extreme communities like pro homicide and pro suicide communities. Within the pro suicide communities, they will provide reasoning and how to commit suicide as well as what should be written inside the suicides. These are leading to the teenage suicides. Officials at local, state, and federal level are taking steps to risk factors and implementing the programs to suicide prevention programs. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you, Sri Lakshmi. Okay, I guess only Mayank is left. Mayank, would you like to speak?
Yes, ma'am. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mayank. I study in Silverland Prestige School, and today I would be speaking for the topic social media causes teenage suicide. As Elon Musk once said, I quote, "There should be regulations on social media to the degree that negatively affects the public good." Since the invention of the World Wide Web, the internet has given us tremendous powers to its users, the power to create and the power to destroy at the same time. As all inventions have their pros and cons, but when we talk about the social media, the there are no pros at all, but there are many cons to the youngsters, and its effects they are not positive. As per the recent studies, it has shown that social media has increased both teenage suicides and self-harm. Teens use electronic devices for at least 5 hours a day, and studies have shown that they were more likely to have suicidal thoughts than who reported the use of 1 hour daily. But the big question is why? With its anonymity and potential of bullying, social media has a unique probability of causing real harm to the teenagers. We need to stop thinking social media as harmless. Monitoring the kids' smartphone and social media is important. So is setting the limits on them. Thus, I'm in strongly favor of the topic social media causes teenage suicide.
All right, the floor is open for interjection. Anybody who would like to interject, anybody? Secondly, again, a reminder that your votings are based on your comments that you receive on your comment section during this live event. So, what I would suggest is please keep on voting and make the use of it as much as you can. So, yes, anybody who would like to counter question or you, yeah. So we do.
Yeah.
Of course, Anandi.
Yes. So, what we all do in our daily lives is just scrolling through reels and YouTube shorts. I know, like everyone does that. So, what we all see on those platforms is an edited version of one's life. Like, what part of their life they show is only the pretty and the happy part, whereas there are difficulties in everyone's problem. But when we see them being happy, it just inside of us, it just makes us insecure that but in reality what they're showing is not always true. They are most of the time pretending it or faking it, but even after that we think that what they're showing is the truth and the reality and the actual life, so that makes us insecure. And also they on social media nowadays cyberbullying has increased a lot. Like recently, there have been a lot of cases for cyberbullying where children share their passwords and other sensitive information on many platforms and games, and also there are many games which are like pure torture on children, and they have no one to share with. Nowadays, teenagers don't feel comfortable in sharing it with anyone, so the only option in the end they are left with is suicide. So I agree that social media has a big impact on teenage society.
Srishti, you can go next.
It's an open question for all the people who are in for the motion. I would like to ask that sometimes when you feel a little low, or maybe any part of your life has become a event which you don't would not like to recall. I don't think that you will straight up go to the person's house and talk to them face to face. First, you'll always try to text them or to call them. That's also through social media. So I think that is reducing such time or like such intense emotional pain which we suffer from, and it is very much helpful. I would like to ask anyone for the motion if they could say that it's creating more depressing situations.
Well, I would like to answer the thought expressed by you. So you said that people try to text or call the person suffering from the depression. So this is also a means of by means of social media. So first of all, I would like to clear that when we are face to face, you know, talking offline, then it's more, it has a good impression than in online. So uh, a person goes in depression only when he is not able to talk to anyone else, and that's when they are isolated. As I told in my part, that people get isolated, so they don't even talk to their friends. So that's why they have no one left with whom they can share anything. That's the main reason which causes them to depress. So directly, indirectly, it's the social media which causing the teenagers to become depressed. So if and after all, the person who is depressed, it's all on that person whether that person wants to share it with his family members, friends, or even parents. You know, they're always ready to hear what we are trying to say, what we try to convey. But what the teenage is, it's basically the thing when you don't want to talk to your parents more. Basically, that you don't want to confirm your feelings in front of them. So if people stop, if teenagers, minimize the use of social media, they'll get to know about more about the surroundings, more about the things, more about the people around them, and definitely they'll make friends in no time with whom they can share everything. So no one will be depressed ultimately.
Okay. Do Arya, you wanted to speak something?
Yes, ma'am. I want to ask a question there.
Sure.
So this is an open question for those who were in favor that social media contribute to teenage suicide. So most of you just try to link that due to social media only that these days cases are rising. So where in the case before social media, even cases are coming. I agree to this point, but are all of them for social media? There are cases for many aspects: peer pressure, family pressure, depression. We are children, and from this age we are not able to handle ourselves. So just giving it a link to social media I'm not understanding that point. That how could you link this to social media?
Shall I answer this, ma'am?
Absolutely, Ananya, you can
So,
go.
yeah. Arya, so I would like to confirm your question once again. It's that you have asked. Can you just repeat your question once?
Yeah, so simply I may ask that why are you linking it with social media only? Because cases are everywhere, cases are of suicide also, but why just only social media? Family, peer pressure, everything is surrounded by us, and we are not ever taught how to deal with it. So why are we just focusing on this social media?
So, well, I do agree that before social media, suicidal cases were there also. But I would like to especially mention that the teenage suicide, basically teenage suicide, is is rising alarming. Like there are so many reasons. There are like there's an endless list of so many reasons that could be there. But if we compare all the cases, then social media is one of the biggest cases. It's one of the current hot topics going on right now. So, well, yeah, depression was there before social media. It's right now also. Earlier people would get depressed if they wouldn't get good marks and things. But now there are so many reasons of depression only because of social. If you're getting bullied because of internet, which we call, so it's just so shameful. Or sometimes if a person is hacked, then his or her information, personal information, is shared online without his or consent. Now this again leads to depression. So there are endless things because of social media. Yes, not only because of social media all these things happen, but it's one of the main causes.
Yeah, actually, I agree to Anya because there were suicide cases earlier also, but they have increased nowadays because the use of social media has increased, and proportionate to that, the suicide cases have increased. So I agree to her.
All right. Anybody else who would like to, raise a question or have a doubt or something, or you want to correlate to something?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, Gorisha, I would like to ask this question to you. So, you mentioned a topic, some lines on mental weakness. Well, how do you relate mental weak? Do you know how we relate this mental weakness with social media? Directly, indirectly, because of social media only. Because people are so much isolated, they don't even want to talk to their friends, which leads to mental weakness. So, what are your thoughts?
So, yes, I'll answer your question, Anya. That's because parents are not focusing on their children. They are not watching over their children. That what are they doing? The children are not getting isolated not because of social media, but because their parents are not having attention over them. When they come back to school, there are many children and many parents that they don't even ask their children that how was your day, how did it spend, and moreover they tackle many problems and situations, and some children can't even talk to their parents, so their parents should approach their children about that what is causing you the problem. This question should be asked, and not the problem should be blamed to the social media. Social media is even now connecting us with everyone. On worldwide, we can connect ourselves with social media. Even when we are bored, we can use social media for getting us entertained. And as you said that how I can relate mental weakness through this the society. So I want to ask a question: when a person is mentally weak or emotionally weak, I want to ask this question to you.
Well, after all this thing, the same question comes up again. You see, like if a person is using social media, then that's the main reason that they're sacrificing their sleep, their exercise, their time, and wasting it completely. That's the main reason because of which people feel busy and lazy, and for that reason, they don't pay attention to anything around them. They don't know anything what's going on around. So
So, what I wanted you to answer, you didn't answer, but now I'll answer that. The mental weakness came from loneliness. When we are lonely, we become mentally weak. We become emotionally weak. When we have no one to speak around us, how we tackle our problems? When our teachers and parents will not guide us how to deal with these things that goes on social media, how will tackle these problems? One more point: parents and teachers are elders, and parents are our parents, not the social media. We are the children of our parents and not of social media. So we should not blame social media, because social media is for everyone and not only for teenagers. But parents should consider that the teenagers should not watch this or that thing, and that can, I think, reduce the suicide cases.
well, you again mentioned loneliness. What I am trying to express is loneliness is also coming because of social media only, right? Because of social media, people don't want to invest their time in making, offline friends. They want to stay in the world where they have so many online friends.
Now I'll answer your question. Why students or children get like attracted to social media? This is because they are not getting attention at their home. They are not getting any attention at their home. If the parents would have taken care of the children well, or they have pampered them well, then I don't think that this case would have happened.
Well, our country is so thickly populated. Why can't you find just one offline friend, and for that reason you have to go online always? That's not the reason.
If you have to connect yourself through the world, how you would do that? You will go to the places or through social media. Even for how this intact connected to us through social media only. So how you can blame on this? This provides us read us information, and loneliness comes only when we are not physically connected. So if we're physically connected, I think social media की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती. So what I want to say is that until and unless we are physically connected, we are not emotionally connected. That's what my point.
All right, so I guess everybody has expressed themselves really pretty well and would like to have, their clarifications of thought. What we talk about is the topic that we are talking here about is the social media contribute to teenage society. So let me just, bring in certain things to highlight in terms of social media. So social media is a big part of many teens' life. So there is a study, there's research that has claimed that say 13 to 17 years old are found that 45% are online almost constantly, and 97% use a social media platforms such as YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or Snapchat. But what impact does social media have on teens is basically social media allow teens to create their own online identities, communicate with others, and build social networks. These networks can provide teens with valuable support, especially helping those with experiences, excursions, or disabilities or chronic illnesses. Teens also use social media for entertainment and self expression. And the platform can expose teens to current events, allow them to interact across geographical barriers, and teach them about a variety of subjects, including healthy behaviors. Social media that's humorous or distracting or provides a meaningful connection to peers and a wide social network might even help teens avoid depression. But how does social media is harming? So, however, social media can be also used negatively, which affects teens, distracting them, disrupting their sleeps, and exposing them to bullying, rumor spreading, unrealistic views of other people's lives, and peer pressure. The risk might be related to how much social media teens use. So again, a study which says that 12 to 15-year-old in US were found those were the that of those who spend more than 3 hours a day using social media might be at the heightened risk of mental health problems. Another study was wherein 13 to 16-year-olds in England were found that using social media more than 3 times a day predicted poor mental health and well-being in teens. Other studies have also observed that there was a high level of social media use in depression or anxiety symptoms. A study with more than 450 teens found that greater social media use, nighttime social media use, and emotional investment in social media, such as feeling upset when prevented from logging on, were each linked with worse sleep quality and higher levels of anxiety and depression. So, how teens use social media also might determine its impact. The study that social comparisons and feedback seeking by teens using social media and cell phones was linked with depressive symptoms. In addition, there were studies that found that older adolescents who used social media passively, such as by just viewing others' photographs, reported decline in satisfaction, life dissatisfaction. So those who use social media to interact with others and post their own consent didn't experience these uh, disciplines. So and those declines, and there are various studies which have shown the impact of social media under graduate students who've shown longer used Facebook. The stronger was the belief that others were happier than they were, but there were more times when students spent going out with their friends and less they felt this way. Right. So, because of teens' impulsive natures, experts suggested that teens who post content on social media are at the risk of sharing intimate photos or highly personal stories. This can result in teens being bullied, harassed, or even blackmailed. Teens of teens often create posts without considering their consequences and privacy concerns. So, how can we protect them? So this is what we are talking about, social media, right? How do we protect them, and how do we, so there were various steps to encourage and responsible use of social media, which could limit to some negative aspects, which could be considered as, you should have to have set a reasonable limit to how much access you can have. You should always talk on how to avoid letting social media interfere with his or her activities, sleeps, meals, or homeworks. Encourage a bedtime routine. Avoid electronic media use and keep cell phones and tablets out of your bedrooms. So this could be one of the ways that you can, restrict yourself. Then monitor your parents or your guardians or anybody who's, with you, and as an adult, should monitor how much and access do you have over your account. You should always have parents. So this comes as a responsibility of the parents also, that how much access they've given to you over social media, how much are you spending time, and what all people you're following, and what all information you're gathering in the long run. So we should also, always, whenever you're taking a decision in terms of, you're talking about teenage suicide, so whenever any thought that creeps into your mind which is a negative one, you can talk to anybody, not just somebody who's physically present to you, but somebody who's virtually present to you. So social media, when used in a right format and with the right mindset, can do wonders. But obviously every situation has flip sides, so, and two sides of the coin. So you should understand when to use, what to use, and what not to use, and by what time. So encouraging of what is okay and what's not okay, again, lets you decide how you go about it. Like one of you said, not social media is not entirely the reason of somebody being dragging towards a worst case scenario of teenage suicide, but there are various reasons which may lead to that, right? So with this note, I would like to end this conversation and tell people that thank you so very much for expressing your viewpoints. I hope what you've expressed, I hope what you come here and put across a thought, and what you listen is not just for listening and counter questioning, or, just to bag one of your medals of, understanding that I've said what I was supposed to, and also understanding the criticality of the topics that we share and discuss here. So, with this note, I, Sakshi, host of this show, would like to sign off with a promise that we will be coming back with yet another interesting topic, wherein brilliant minds like these kids will be, expressing their viewpoints and sharing their views. So, with this note, thank you so much, guys.